Welcome, everyone. I would like to introduce one of my mentors, a woman who helped me as I entered this career, a new coach, knowing absolutely nothing, although I felt like I knew everything, like most coaches. Coach Denise Cardenas is a now retired, enjoying life as a retired coach, but a longtime volleyball coach. She coached multiple sports as well, and she'll tell us a little bit about what she does. But this is a special part of our series. We're going to already have we interviewed Sarah, her daughter, and we're going to interview her sister. And so it's a whole family. It's not only on her side, but it's her husband's side as well. So welcome, Denise.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Yes. So Denise, if you would please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you started your career and then where you ended.
I started my career at Harlandale High School. I did my student teaching there, and then I was able to stay on because I graduated in December, so I stayed on. And I did 2 years. I did a year there at Harlandale. Then I went to Terrell Wills Middle School and did 7th grade, all the sports, taught PE. And then I went back to Harlandale High School. At the time, my intention was to coach, and when I was at the high school, but I got involved with the dance, cheer, and pep. And I had that background myself while I was in high school, and I really, really enjoyed it. And so that's what I did. I took over the Indianettes. But leaving Harlandale, in 1986, I went to Edison, and I stayed 32 years at the same school. I continued doing the dance, pep, and cheer for about 7 years. And then I decided that once I had Sarah, athletics, you have your seasons end. Pep and dance, it never ends. And I thought, well, as much as I loved it and I love the girls, I really wanted to coach too. And so this was my opportunity. An opportunity came up at Edison, and I started coaching volleyball, and I did soccer. And then I became the head volleyball coach there. And I loved it. It was always in me. Of course, coaching is also involved with pep and dance too. But once I started doing with the girls and the athletes, the volleyball, I really I knew I was in the right place, and I loved Edison, and I stayed there. I think I did volleyball most of the time until my daughter started college. And then I decided to give up the volleyball, and I just stayed with soccer because I missed all of her high school season. And so I wanted to see her in college, and luckily she went to UIW. So I was able to go watch her play. But it's very, very rewarding. And I really, I don't have any regrets, no doubt.
Excellent, Denise. Now, I'm sure that it was difficult to miss all of Sarah's games. However, she was with a familiar face, yes. And yes. She was with family, and you knew that she was taken care of.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the dynamic was, being a coach, but being a coach's wife as well, because your husband coached for a long time as well, and what that dynamic is like for the family?
Well, it was a blessing. Javi didn't start off being a coach. He had a degree in civil engineering when we met, but all his brothers, except for his oldest, were all coaches. And I think the excuse that he always said why he didn't go into coaching is because he's very shy. Out of the 5 brothers, he's the shyest one. And he just said, I just can't talk in front of people. And I thought, are you kidding me? This is, you can't give that that can't be the reason, right? Well, after he met me and he saw I had the summers off and the holidays off, and his brothers were off, he said, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And it was the best decision. And we had the opportunity of working together for 15 years at Edison when he became the head football coach. We taught PE together in the same gym, and it was a lot of fun. It really was. I look back and I think, God, what a blessing it was to be able to work together, and then, of course, come home together. And, we got along so well, and we have that same work ethic and our same values, that the things that we wanted to accomplish were the same, and so it made it easy. I was um, very, Javi's always been very supportive of everything I've done, and I too for him. So, it was exciting for us, um, I don't know, but
It's always interesting because my husband and I have had the pleasure of working together on 4 different campuses.
oh,
And people always ask, well, do you really enjoy working on the same campus? And I said, yes, absolutely. You have you automatically have someone that's going to support you when something takes place on campus, or you need help bringing kids in, you always
right,
have that extra person. And then because we didn't teach the same subject, never saw each other. So
right,
it didn't matter that we were on the same campus because he's in English, I'm an elective, so our paths never crossed.
right.
So but to be able to, to attend meetings together and just coach together when we were
Mm,
both coaching it's something special, and we never
yeah.
got tired of each other, and it was good.
And
And
the funny thing is that a lot of our PE kids, they never knew we were married. They would say, why? Maybe one kid once a couple of times would say, oh, why do y'all have the same last name? And then that's when we'd say, well, because that's my husband. What? We were always very respectful in that sense. We were, very professional, and it was just funny. It would make us laugh. We just, there's
kids
no
are
need to tell them. Why not? Why do we need to tell them? But sometimes they wouldn't catch it. Oh, Coach Cardenas said you could do it. It's like that. Maybe they're related. That's
that's always
funny.
funny. Now, Denise, who or what inspired you to enter this profession?
Well, it's with my parents. Both my parents were educators, and they were both coaches, and my dad was an administrator. But growing up, we were always in the gym, watching my mom not just coach or sports, but the impact that she had on the kids, and not just the girls, but the boys. The things that were so important to her, that the kids that she taught learned. It wasn't always about the sports, but it was about life. The life lessons. Of social skills, and how to be good to each other, how to work together, all those qualities that you need later on. And I know once those kids became adults, they never forgot her, and I wanted to be that person. I used to laugh because my mom would do programs at school. She taught PE, and she taught, all the sports, but she would do programs about their culture. And I thought it would be so beautiful, like, 'cause she wanted them to be proud that they were Latinas, and that she wanted them to know about their culture. Um, she would have sock hops, and the kids would think, oh, this was fun, but she would teach them how to do line dances and cumbias, and the Cotton Eye Joe, because she knew they'd go to debuts, and she didn't want them to sit there. She wanted them, and she'd teach the boys how to ask a girl how to dance. And to me, it was beyond the sports. It was all about, how to live your, the skills that you need later. And I remember those things, and I used to think, God, I used to think mom's never home. And I used to get jealous of the girls, because the girls love my mother like that. they she was their mother. But as I grew older, I realized how lucky I was to have that, and to share my mom like that. And I wanted to be that. And it's not something that's taught. You just either have it or you don't have it. And I feel blessed, because I feel like I got to have those same opportunities myself as a coach, now, even just today, I guess it's yesterday was National Coaches Day, and I've been getting kind of messages from kids that they're in their 40s. They don't forget, what you did, or all those rides you gave them, whatever it is that you did for them. They don't forget that, and it validates everything that you ever did. Because, sometimes you go home and you think you don't, like you feel like you didn't do anything, the kids are not listening and you just go home bummed, right? But they are, it's just that you won't find out till later, until they become adults and they realize something in their life makes them remember you and a lesson that you taught them, whether disciplining them or, you know, so it's just been, it's rewarding, but it's my mom, like I said, she was tough. She taught me tough love. She taught me discipline. She taught, always never allowed us, Yamilet or myself, to be the minimum, do the minimum. It was always, you do your best in everything. If it was sweeping the floor, you didn't do it right, go back and do it again. And those things, that's the way it took us, we took those things with us as we began our careers, and so that's who I would say.
In every team that you coached, we always knew as an opponent, we always knew expect from Edison. They were never going to let anything ball hit the floor. Same thing playing against O'Connor. No ball was going to hit the floor. I don't care what you do, you are going to pursue, and you're going to work hard. And those kids never, ever, ever will ever give up. And then some of the women that I've coached with that were your players instilled those qualities and characteristics in their team. So we always knew, okay, well, Denise was their coach. That's the expectation. We know what's coming, that we're going to have to do something a little bit different. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
That is so awesome, Denise. And you were so instrumental as I began my career and so helpful. And I think that is just so telling of your personality and your family and your upbringing. Now, throughout your career, I'm sure you faced several challenges and obstacles. What would you say were some of those, especially in this profession that, volleyball, while it is predominantly female, there's still quite a few males that coach volleyball, but even just the coaching profession as a whole, as you moved into a leadership position, what are some of those obstacles that you faced in this coaching profession?
Well, I think for me was started with maybe just talking about the kids and the disadvantages, working in the in the inner city school district, the opportunities weren't always the same, on equal grounds as other school districts. And so it was, instead of really dwelling about that, we had to really we had to be creative and figure out how can we catch up, and how can we, so that we can be competitive. Because for me, it was never about winning, was not the most important thing to me, but I did want the kids I wanted them to see that we can be as good as anybody else. Yes, we can work harder than anybody else. We can be classy, how we win, how we lose. But, the disadvantage was not being able to get the kids always on a club team or have those kind of opportunities that, of course, help other kids advance, a lot faster than we do. So, working with our middle schools and we got creative, we worked with the elementary, when you're teaching a PE unit, can I be over there and let's give you some ideas? And instead of, we could have moped about it and made excuses, but I felt like we can't do that because, these kids deserve more. And so I would say, if anything, that, and of course we didn't have the facilities and equipment that lots of other people have that helps, but I always said, it's not what you have, it's what you put into it. So we're going to figure out how we can, stay, equal to everybody else, and I never dwelled on that kind of stuff. For adults, as being a leader, when I was a coordinator, you know, trying to find nowadays the younger coaches that have that work ethic, their mindset's very different from, we're old school, you have to work for everything, nothing's given. And so, that was always, it took a lot of pride in when I hired people, because it didn't matter if you didn't know a ton about your sport. What mattered to me was your character. Were you and I on the same page about, the values and morals that we want to instill in kids, and what are we really trying to teach here? And because you can learn about your sport, you can go to clinics, you learn throughout the year. We all learn, right? We never stop learning, but you can't learn how to be, a disciplinary, you can't teach someone that character is more important than anything, and we're going to build character in these kids because we want them to be successful when they get out of high school. We want them to have opportunities, but, you know, nowadays, parents are not as involved, the way they should be, and they come like that where they need that guidance from us. So, that was always important. So finding those right people, and lots of people that worked at Edison went to Edison, or I coached them, and people would say, well, don't you want to talk to someone else? No, because I want really someone that's come through our program that understands it, so, and so the obstacles, we're trying to find that kind of person, but that's it.
So with that, Denise, what are some words of wisdom that you would give to young Latino coaches or young people that may want to enter the profession, but they see all of the struggles that coaches have, that we have with children? What kind of wisdom would you give them and tell them, like, hey, look, we need you?
Yes. I would say, you have an opportunity to be a role model, and you have an opportunity to impact so many kids. No money in the world can give you the reward that you would get out of becoming, an educator and becoming a coach. To don't be afraid of life is hard, period. I don't care where you go. You can't, you can pick and choose all you want, but you are going to have obstacles, in everything that you do, right? And so you have to never give up. If this is your dream, you need to go for it and dream big, fight, strive for, to move up that ladder, because you can do anything you want. You're going to get whatever you work for, and when one door shuts, another one's going to open, and you just can't give up, and you have this opportunity to be a role model for other girls, Latinas. We need more kids like that. Our kids, like I used to think at Edison, these kids are they look up to me, and I want them to see, hey, I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to be, I'm going to be up there with everybody else. And I want you can do the same, and it's just a matter of your perseverance and you believing in yourself, and I think that the things that you have to know they're really key, I think, in making yourself successful, helping yourself be successful, is always being, put your heart into everything, because kids can see through you. And if you can't put your heart, then maybe you might need to look for something else, but be all in, be all in for them, because they don't need just a coach. They need a mentor. You're going to be a parent. You're going to be that counselor. And like we talked earlier, that, yeah, the kids are going to tell you everything. You're going to know everything about their life. And sometimes it's overwhelming, because you don't know how much you can help, but they need you. And it feels, at times it's stressful, but most of the time it's so rewarding, because you for a kid to get through things because you just listen, that's amazing. And why wouldn't you want to do that? And I'm telling you, I encourage, everybody that thinks about being a teacher and coach to do it. You need to do it, no matter, because like I said, everything's hard. You can't shy away from it.
That's absolutely correct. I think that as we get to different points in our career, and being a coach, there are no words, there aren't enough words to describe what it feels like when those kids come back. And I say kids because they're always going to be your kids,
Right.
how old they are.
Right.
I just met with one of mine from, some of my first years at Fox Tech, and
Yes,
they're not much. I mean, we've got maybe 9 years apart.
yeah, right. Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
And then they have children. It's so amazing to watch. And and to
Yes.
see their growth and their development and to see them thrive. And you're so proud. And
Yes.
it's just a family that you continue to grow, and it gets bigger and bigger. So I I agree with everything that you said. And as a Latina in this profession, what did that mean to you being a Latina leader in coaching?
Well, I took a lot of pride in it. You know, I don't want to say just because I was Latina, but yeah, I did. I took a lot of pride from because, unfortunately, we're not always looked up to, and I wanted to be that person that I felt like it was important to be a role model, but not just as a coach, but just as a person to my peers about, how I interacted with different people. And I think it's important it was important for my kids to see me be confident, um, but humble, and not um, always, but proud, always proud of what we represented. I was very a big always big on acting like a young lady, and always um, I was a very disciplinary person, and I think people didn't understand it all the time until now. Now they do. But I was, you know, I guess I'm getting off the subject, but I know that being Latina was always, I always felt proud. Like I said, I never wanted to say it. I never said it. Oh, well, I'm glad that I'm Hispanic, and that I'm in the role that I was able to be in later on. But, I just think it's important for other girls and kids to see that you can do this. You can be what you want. You just have to work at things, work harder.
Yes, and you said it. There aren't too many that look like us in these positions
Right.
of leadership, and
Right.
it's important that when we do get to these positions, that we support one another
Right.
and we continue lifting other women as we move up the ladder. We need to bring more with us.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I think that for the longest time, I didn't know that there was anything outside of coaching for women. I didn't, as in athletics, I didn't know that you could do something other than coaching and potentially be an athletic director. But there's a world of sports that women can be a part of. And I did not learn this until, my mid 30s.
Mm.
And that's incredible. So I have found ways to help young women see you don't only have to be a coach if you love sports, because I think as young girls we understand that we're not going to go into professional sports because most of the time there's no professional sports for women,
Right.
or there's a big sacrifice that comes with that, going overseas, leaving our families, that things of that nature. But there are so many other avenues in sports that we can do, that we just have to be exposed to using using other people's experiences to say, you know what, okay, maybe I want to go into marketing, but having marketing for an NFL team, or for
Right.
the Spurs, or for the UIW, I can do that, or go into ticketing. There's just so many things, and leader being able to share that is something that's very special. And Denise, one last question. Whether this be something related to your family or the culture that you had at Edison, what is your favorite tradition, favorite Latino tradition, Hispanic tradition?
I mean, the first thing that pops to my mind is family. Our family, the Cardenas family. We are very, very united. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. That's for sure. But we celebrate everything, even in death. We're always going to be together, and I love that. And I love watching, like, my kids, my nieces and my nephews, how much they value family. And of course we got that from Mr. and Mrs. Cardenas, and my parents, that always instill that in us, that no matter what, you always have each other. I mean, through the worst times and the best times. And that was always so important, and reiterating everything that we did. And I know that when we get together, it's just we can be in the small, we don't have to be anywhere special. It's just the best time ever. And it's something that I know I hear, it makes my heart melt when I hear our nieces and nephews and my kids say, make sure that we call everybody because they look forward to it, and they're young adults, they've got other things that they could be wanting to do. And it makes me happy because I know that we're going to carry on how important family is, and how we need each other for the rest of our lives.
And I would say that that family value, you carried that over to Edison because that was the family that you had as well. And it was across all sports and all programs. And it didn't matter what it was. We always knew as an opponent that was those were the Edison Bears, and they were a family. They were going to take care of each other. So
Well,
kudos.
I'm sorry, when you say that, what I still think about too, one of the things that I took the most pride in as being a coordinator at Edison was the unity that we had with our male and female staff. Everybody, when, we'd work at track meets and people would say, "Hey, coach, I can't, how do y'all get along?" And in my mind, I would say, I turn around and say, "I don't know. How do you not get along? How are you supposed to act?" "Well, we're not tight like y'all are." And I said, "Well, I don't know. That's how we were, and I feel like, I wanted it to be like that. I could tell you anything about our male coaches, their wives, their families, it takes that person that you gotta want the way you want to be with your kids, the athletes, your students, you're that way with your peers, and they respond to that, and we became a family, and it was just, that's something that if I had to say, what do I miss the most? That's what I miss. I miss the relationships that I had with, all my peers, and I love that, and I wish that everybody else would be able to experience what we got to experience at Edison.
Yes, and you're absolutely correct, because that's what people saw. That was something that was exuded throughout my time ever watching anything related to Edison while you were there, is that was a family. Both not only the Cardenas family, but it was the Edison family, and it takes someone to hold all of those pieces together. And I think you were that glue that held that together, Denise.
Thank you. Thanks, Liza.
So
That's right.
you did an excellent job. But we want to say thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for impacting all of the lives that you did and that you continue to do, and the legacy that you carried on. And Sarah's doing the same thing as well. And she's the next generation.
I'm so excited for her. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.